Oh boy. All right. So this is hopefully the last video I have to make on CFG and negative prompts, but we're going to imagine that our latent space is this two-dimensional box right here. Okay. So this is past the point of when unit has already like encoded our prompt into like vector embeddings and stuff. So this right here, this is our starting location, and this is going to be based on the seed and after all of the like the little calculations go on to do the stuff. So this random location right here, that's our null conditioning, all right? And this could be, it could be right here, it could be up here, it could be over here, it could be anywhere. And that usually results in kind of like a latent understanding of like maybe a rock or some bushes or a picture of a restaurant, just basically a random location within the latent space, okay? And then we have our prompt, which is kind of like a more specific location within the latent space, right? And then based on how the UNet denoises the image with this latent stuff, that's how we get our picture. So in order to get from the starting point to the prompt, aka the desired image, we need to tell the AI like how far away it needs to like travel, or like how different the image has to be from that starting point based on our prompt. Okay, so that's how it creates the image. This is how it's supposed to work. The problem is when you start using negative prompts, instead of having just a random starting location, because remember, when it's this, there's nothing in there, and it gets converted by everything in your seed, it results in pretty much a random point. But your prompt is more specific, so it's usually going to be, you know, like in a more specific area of the latent space, is I guess you could say. But when you start using negative embeddings, so those vector embeddings are going to be tied to specific locations in the latent space with specific like orientations. So when you use negative embeddings, you're effectively defining an entire region of latent space as off limits. You're saying to the AI like, hey, you need to be different from this, you need to go away from this. So the understanding of negative prompt tells AI what not to make. It's kind of correct, but like that's not what it's not what it was intended to do, and it's not doing what you think. So the reason why that's important is because of the low quality girl. This is the best example I could think of. If you're familiar with like art at all, then you might recognize this as an entire era of art style, like that 80s, 90s. If you play like Toho games, Zun's art style is literally this. So when you see things like, oh, we recommend using low quality, worse quality in the prompt, you are effectively defining an entire region of latent space as off limits. And the reason why that's important is because now we know that low quality has a very strong association with an entire era of art style. So by doing this right here, using low quality and the negative prompt, you're telling the AI that you don't want, why is this not generating? You're basically telling the AI that entire eras of art styles are off limits. You don't want that. Again, we don't know what is contained in the latent representation of these vector embeddings, so we can't extrapolate false conclusions that this will suddenly result in better looking hands. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, my recommendation is to, if you're doing stuff like prompt engineering, leave this blank, because you have to find out what the prompt actually looks like unaffected. So when you're, here's one. All right, so when you are, how do I explain this? When you're doing an analysis of a system, you want to limit the amount of variables that could have an influence. So this is off topic, but for prompt engineering, leave this blank. That's it. Cool. I'll do the prompt engineering video next. Yeah, goodbye.